All right, guys. Obviously, great challenge here with a team that's playing really well in Michigan. So, great challenge for us here. They've obviously played really well last night at home um, against Purdue. As far as status updates, um, Michi and Gene will both be, game time decisions after practice today. So we'll know more about those guys here. But excited for a great challenge, talented group that's well coached, that's got tremendous depth and talent across the board, and is playing as well as they've played all year for sure. Yeah, we didn't do that. That's just not accurate. We had one possession that was a shot clock violation. The other one, we had a dunk attempt that was blocked, and we attacked their press and got two shots blocked. That's just not accurate. We weren't bleeding clock. We weren't trying to. That's just that was one possession. The other possessions, like I said, we had a dunk attempt that was blocked. That was drawn up specifically to get a breakaway. So, it's not accurate.
And when it comes to those blocks, you talked about playing with more force down the stretch and
Yeah.
needing to play more force. Does that go hand in hand?
Their size is good. They're a good defensive team. Probably maybe we could have. I think EJ ended up kicking out the second one when he got the rebound after Zed got blocked and maybe his got blocked. I thought he made a good poised decision there. So give him credit. They had good length, and the block attempt on the dunk was a really good play by the kid.
And did you go over a little bit more the last minute or so? You had said after the game you weren't sure of the final shot. What exactly how that kind of went down? What you were looking for in the last 3 seconds?
Yeah. We just we didn't execute the play.
Coach, that performance by Michigan last night against Purdue, was that kind of the version of Michigan that people thought we would see it from the beginning of the season and all season? And then also, how much can one performance like that? How much does that change how you game plan when it's just one game, but it's the game that happened right before you're going to go in there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you look at them, and they're certainly one of the, I think probably they would say they're playing as well as they've played all year. What that kind of momentum can do for them. I think it's anyone's guess, but I'm sure Juwan is interested in anybody right now in terms of how his team's playing, and clearly they're playing well. I think all of us who watched them and saw some of their struggles here early on knew that they certainly have the potential to get it rolling, and they're gifted, they're talented. Juwan does a really good job. I think it's a really good team. There's a reason why they were top 5 or top 6 in the country in the preseason.
And what are your impressions of their two freshman guys there in the starting lineup, and how do you maybe look to exploit the front court that is as long as it is for them? With you guys have some more mobility perhaps on the inside there.
Yeah, no, they've got good length with Dickinson and Diabate, really good length. They're freshmen. I think they have 3 5-star freshmen. One doesn't play as much, but he's a really talented player. He comes off the bench for him. The other two, I think Diabate's had his really consistently good season, and obviously the big wing shooters has had some really big games for him too. They're talented players, for sure.
I think one of the things that we've talked about this season has been Zed's consistency, and I'm curious, especially after kind of the like you guys have been kind of pressing him down low offensively a little bit more. What was kind of the message?
Yeah, I thought he did some good things. Collectively, bottom line is we've got to be better defensively, and we've got to find a way as coaches and players to be better and more consistent defensively. That's what has really gotten us in certain games. It has not been anything other than the fact that we've not been able to get stops when we've needed to, and you're going to have games where you're going to struggle. Whether it's home or road against good defenses, and we have to have a more consistent defense, and that's on all of us. And Zed's a big part of that. All of our guys that have played consistent minutes, and us as coaches, we got to find ways to be better on that end.
Hunter Dickinson provides length for Michigan, but he's kind of one of the more complete players, whether it's shooting threes or kind of just doing a little bit of everything. And I'm curious, when you have a guy in Zed kind of facing that down low, seeing the potential of all that he could do, what's kind of the plan there? What do you kind of say to him? You guys have seen him before, so what's the game plan?
Yeah, no, he just has to be aware of his size. I think our guards have to be aware of his size and his ability to block shots and play with length, and got to be smart in how we attack. And Zed has to as well. He has to get into his body and be physical and get deep positioning. That's when he's at his best anyway.
What has Joey Brunk brought to your program, maybe more than what we see on
maturity? Maturity's probably the thing that comes to mind first. He's a really good kid who's obviously been through a lot, but I've said this before, that whatever Joey does decide to do, and I know he just took some pretty important tests this morning, whatever he does decide to do, he's going to be really successful at it. I really believe that. I would be betting on Joey Brunk to have a really, really successful career. Just because I know who he is as a person, I know his work ethic, I know how he responds to hard things that come up in life, and he's a wonderful kid from a wonderful family, and he's going to be a tremendous success. If law is what he chooses to be, he's going to be really, really good at it.
Probably a pretty tall lawyer.
Yeah, he would be tall and imposing, for sure.
You used him in some big moments, some of them forced with Zed in foul trouble and whatnot. How have you liked the on-court production? I know he's not played a ton of minutes, but he's given you some big ones.
Yeah, he's done a good job and played some important minutes for sure. And I think he's done a good job. I know, like any kid, he would love to play more and more consistent minutes, but he's been ready. His attitude's been great. He's got to help us on the defensive end when he's in there, both in post and ball screen defense, and that's been kind of one of the things we've been challenging him with, because he can really score in the low post.
Coach, what's the mood and vibe of the team been the last day and a half? I got to imagine that ate at them for probably the whole night, that loss.
It's Big Ten basketball. You know how it is. What's the mood of Purdue right now? You have to figure out a way to respond and challenge yourself to get better in practice the next day. And we're not the only good team that's went and lost at that place. It's frustrating. We've got to figure out some things we can do better as coaches and players, but it's back to work, as much as anything.
The last couple spins and Jacob over here.
Well, Chris, is there maybe any sense of heightened emphasis on this game playing against Michigan, especially with how the football team played against them in the fall? Have you sensed that from any of your players, maybe even your coaching staff?
Well, I think anytime you're playing against a quality team and a rival, there's certainly going to be heightened, whatever you want to call it. I think we're well aware of the quality of team and quality of program that they've had for now, a decade and a half plus. I think you look at what John did there, and it was phenomenal run of success, and it continues. So I think anytime you're playing a team against of that caliber, again, that's talented and well coached, and it's the greatest respect you can give to a rivalry game, is to try try to prepare to be your very best.
And with a guy like Malachi, I believe he led your team in scoring last time out, and his last few performances on the road have been really efficient. Do you notice anything different in the way he goes about his preparation when you are on the road? Because he's played really well at Purdue, Rutgers, obviously, etc.
Yeah, no, I think he's learning, he's growing as a player. There's really no difference, but he continues to learn and grow and get better.
Chris, your last 5 games out, you guys have been a lot better at not turning the ball over. Do you credit that to just maturity and team growth, or what's behind that? 'Cause it seems like the high turnover rate was almost going to be
Yeah.
just something you guys had to battle through, and now you seem to be getting it under control.
Yeah, I think it's much as anything, it's a little bit, it's probably a little bit better understanding of what we're trying to do. That has been a significant area of improvement for us, for sure. And I give our guys credit. Now we have to, again, raise our level of defensive performance. And we got to take what we learned from a game like the other day. We've really finished and executed, late in games really well this year, with the exception of 2 that come to mind for me. So we got to take some of those lessons and learn from it, and continue to get better at taking care of the ball and grow our defense and finish better.
Thanks. Just one more thing. I was thinking about this after the game, that not having Gene, how much could he have factored in on Gio? Just seemed like with his size and his length, he maybe could have provided a little bit more defensive presence than you were otherwise able to put on Gio.
Well, what it allows, I'm sure you guys have watched this enough to know we didn't play. We played a lineup that we played very few minutes. Really, not since the Xavier game have we played that lineup together, and we ended up playing at extended minutes. And I think it hurt our continuity a little bit offensively, because it was just unique. You had EJ basically playing the 3. Gene's length and versatility would have allowed us to play and maybe give some spot minutes, or play maybe Zed a little bit less, to maybe give a little bit more flow to our offense with a Gene, EJ, Kyle lineup. I think that would have really helped us in that situation. Those guys did a good job, and we felt like we needed to play that lineup because of their size on the perimeter. But it did, I think, impact our offensive flow, a little bit. So having Gene back gives us some ability to play more 5 out, as opposed to just, always having a 5-man kind of back to his basket 5-man. It allows us to play a little bit more 5 out, open the floor a little bit more. It's the way we played a lot last year when you had Seth and Justice, because you have bigger wings in the middle of your lineup. And when you have bigger wings in the middle of your lineup, that creates defensive versatility. It also allows you to play what we feel like. We've got some versatility on the front line, but we're not as versatile on the front line, obviously, when you're playing Zed and Joey. So I think ultimately it affected our ability to attack offensively as well as we would like. We close the game, most games, not every game, but we've closed a lot of games with a bit of a smaller, more versatile lineup, and that's helped us offensively attack some mismatches. We did it at Purdue. Maybe the one game we didn't close it, that we closed really well, was Duke. We had Zed in there for most of that game, but ultimately, that having a guy in the middle of your lineup that has defensive versatility, that can switch and guard, then allows you to play offensively more versatile. So it would have helped.
us who are too dumb to even know what the LSAT stands for. What has this year been like where you're balancing the demands of something like that, but also playing high major college basketball?
It's definitely been it's been hectic at points, just with studying for that and balancing school and basketball and all that goes with it. But I mean, there's more than enough time in the day to get it all done. I've just had to been pretty diligent about planning every week out and what needs to be done, what my goals are. But all in all, it's been smooth.
What has the opportunity to have this year meant to you? Because obviously, like, your career could technically be over at this point. What has this extra opportunity meant for you?
With the extra year after not playing last year, I wanted to finish it out, and it's hard sitting out and not playing, and some of the the unknown of that, and being able to play and compete in games means a lot, and it's obviously a pretty special experience.
There's a lot of athletes that would take it easy academically while you're doing major college sports. Why decide to kind of do both right now? I mean, I guess you could study law school after you're done with basketball. Why push this now?
I mean, I feel like part of it just the way I was raised. My parents always held my brother and I to a high standard in everything we did, whether that was academic or athletic or whatever that may be. And I have an undergraduate degree, a master's degree, and I'll finish a graduate certificate here in the spring. So I don't know. I think it's just kind of been a big part of how my parents raised my brother and I, and it's just kind of the standard. If you're going to do it well, and if you're not going to do it, then, or if you're not going to be all in, then it ain't worth your time. So either do it well, or don't do it at all.
And obviously you transferred before, but how much did that, I guess, help you coming here for one last year, especially given what you were balancing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps just with the kind of the familiarity. Obviously, I knew Coach Holt, some of the guys on the staff, and Kyle Young, so it definitely made the transition to Columbus a little bit easier than maybe going in somewhere and not knowing anybody at all.
Joey, could you tell us about your relationship with Coach Holtmann? I mean, obviously this is not the first time you played with him. What draws you to him? What is it about him as a coach?
I think we've always had a good connection. Going back to when he started recruiting me at Butler, he wasn't he was still the assistant coach at the time. And then as he got the interim head coaching job, and then ultimately the head coaching job, we always stayed close, and he was always the guy recruiting me, and we've always kind of clicked like that, and I think that's just a big part of why I'm here.
I was also wondering, with the way things are changing in collegiate sports right now, with not just name, image, and likeness, but the transfer portal, you're a good example of the modern guy who's been in 3 programs now. I'm just wondering if you could maybe describe that journey. You probably didn't envision it that way, like when you went to Butler. Oh, I want to go to 3 colleges, not 1. But how did that go? Would you trade that in for anything?
Yeah, I mean, if you told me how all this was going to play out when I was 17 years old, I'd probably say I didn't believe you. 6 years, and it's a lot of up and down, but that's ultimately I think it's probably a pretty good example of what life looks like. You have this grand idea how everything is going to play out, and it's just going to fall into place, and it's going to be great. But in all actuality, that's not how it is. But along the way, like, I've made relationships and friendships with people at all 3 universities that I wouldn't trade for anything. There's many people that I talk to. I mean, there's people I talk to from Butler every day. There's people from Indiana I talk to every day, and like those kind of things definitely validate everything not going to plan on paper. Because if I had to pick one or the other, I'm going to pick all those other people over, things going according to plan.
Why law school? Why was that always on the table for you? Was that always something you wanted to do?
It's been something I've been interested in for quite some time. It's a pretty prestigious thing to do, and I don't know, I think maybe it's just a little bit of the academic overachiever in me a little bit that my mom kind of molded. I don't know. I don't know. I think it just opens up a lot of opportunities, opens up a lot of doors, and whether that be next year or down the road, I'm not really sure yet when that's going to be. But it's something that I think I want to do and have wanted to do for a while.
What's your relationship like with, I guess to go back to the basketball court, what's your relationship like with Zed? How have you seen him? Obviously, you've, not known him for a super long time, but how have you seen him grow over the course of the season and kind of, taken initiative in the paint and kind of molded as a sophomore? Because he is still a young guy.
Right, yeah, I mean, Zed's definitely, grown over my time here, however many months, exactly that's been. He's definitely grown as a player, and I think over time he's just going to continue to learn. And I feel like as you make those first couple jumps, it becomes easier and easier to make those jumps. Where once you kind of get the progress and you start to see it, it just makes it easier to continue to build off of that. And it's been great to go against him day in, day out. I think he has a very bright future here at Ohio State, and I think he's going to continue to progress.
Not to bring up bad memories, but can you take us through the back injury? Just kind of what happened, process of recovery?
I started having calf, hamstring pain early in the fall last year. Turns out my disc was pretty messed up. I had great medical care in Indiana, and Timmy G and Dr. Rink, did everything that they could. I had a few shots, and we tried, really anything and everything, and ultimately got to the point where I had to have surgery, and that was just kind of how it all boiled down to, and wasn't, fun experience, but definitely has, made me who I am. So.
How has it felt to be healthy? I mean, to be able to have a season, to be a contributor, to go through this experience and know that I'm sure everyone wants to play more, but just to be able to have a full body of health there and show people what you can do. What has that meant to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely when you don't have that, you've never really experienced like what it's like to not be able to have that. It kind of puts things back in perspective, and I mean, I think ultimately, I have a lot of gratitude for the people here at Ohio State that have helped keep me healthy, but I have a lot of admiration and respect for the people in Indiana, and all the way from Dr. Ritter who did my surgery to Timmy G and Dr. Rink, and the people that I saw day in, day out that did everything they could to make sure that I had a chance to be healthy again, and I was getting the best treatment and all that stuff available, and those are the people that deserve the credit with everything, and how helpful and accommodating they all were.
Were any of them among the throng that were booing you when you were back there? It was
I don't
pretty
think
loud
so.
when you touched the ball.
Yeah, I don't think any of them would have booed me. I think maybe if we shared a beer down the road with all of them, I don't think they'd boo me then. So.
What was that experience like of being back there and making an impact and seeing, I'm sure, familiar faces, but also hearing the boos? That had to be a unique night for you.
Yeah, it was definitely an emotional experience. You go back there and you see all these people that you're so close with, that you've grown close to, and you're back in a gym that you've spent a lot of nights with, with your buddies shooting and talking about life and all that stuff. You go back in there, it's all these memories just come flooding back to you. Definitely an emotional deal, but at the end of the day, it's sports. This ain't life and death. So it's great to be back and to see those people, and I'd be lying. Obviously I love Assembly Hall, and it's been a part of my life. So.
I think Trace said after the game that he's going to apologize for bouncing the ball off your head. Did you guys talk about that?
Yeah, we texted back and forth. Trace and I have no bad blood. We're still friends, so I don't think that'll change.
Joey, just since your transfer to Ohio State, how have you adjusted to your role in maximizing your minutes? Because when you are on the floor, you are pretty efficient in terms of your shot attempts, the defense and whatnot. Just how have you adjusted to your role, giving Ohio State valuable minutes off the bench?
I think ultimately it's just about being ready whenever the opportunity presents itself, and you never know when that's going to be. I've always took a lot of pride in my work ethic and all that stuff, and your work ethic isn't really allowed to falter, whether you're playing a lot or playing a little, and I've tried to stay consistent with that throughout the year, and whenever an opportunity comes, I want to be prepared for that.
you're kind of the big man specialist. I mean, they put you in at Purdue against their guy who's 7'4", and now Dickinson is 7'1". Just what do you see with him, and in particular, if you watched that game last night, that I don't know if it gave you nightmares or not going into there 2 days later, but just what do you see with them and him in particular, I guess?
You know, with both players, obviously they're both very talented, and at the end of the day, all you can do is go in and compete and play hard, and you rely on your preparation, and that's kind of going to be, I think, everyone's mindset going into this weekend is, hey, let's go play hard, let's compete, let's leave it all out there, and it's all you can do when it comes down to it.
Joey, the Italian fingers, was that just the TikTok meme? What were we going with there?
So it started a while ago when I was at IU. I used to wear a pinky ring on the bench, and so then one of our managers at IU was affectionately teasing me, and I was also in the middle of rewatching Sopranos, so it just kind of all came together, and then I guess over the past year it just kind of become more and more of a thing. So I guess it started off with a pinky ring when I was out, and then it kind of transitioned into a Tony Soprano, admiration, emulation, however you wanna call it.
How does one get a pinky ring?
It was actually one of my mom's rings that happened to fit on one of my pinky rings, and then it kind of, I don't know, just as I was watching Sopranos, I was like, oh, these guys have pinky rings. That might be something good to wear on the bench. So I asked my mom, and she luckily had a gold band lying around that I could wear. So.
Two more quick ones, Steve.
Yeah, I'll just ask you really quick, from a player's perspective, this month, you might play like 11 games in 27 or 28 days. It's kind of like an extended Big Ten tournament for an entire month. How do you guys take care of yourself? What do you do to be up and be ready to play every game? Like Purdue just showed last night, they couldn't come back on a day's rest and play. They just didn't have it. So what do you guys do to maintain that?
I mean, I think part of it's, we obviously have great care here with Brad, the guys that make sure we're healthy, and you got to take all that recovery and all that stuff serious. And, on the other hand, it's, kind of the player's dream to play, we're playing a lot of games this February. This is what you come to do. You come to play important games, in February and March. That's what you dream about, work for, and now it's just time to, one, to make the most of it, and two, to enjoy it. Like, hey, we're playing college basketball. This is a lot of fun. We're playing in a lot of really important games. Like, let's enjoy this and make the most of that.
You mentioned earlier being a sixth-year guy, and that just struck me. You don't hear that often. When you're as old relatively to some of the other guys on the team, especially the freshmen, how do you find common ground with guys that are a bit older than or a bit younger than you normally would in a program?
Yeah, we were laughing yesterday. I think Michi probably would have been in 8th grade when I was a freshman at Butler, which is pretty wild to think about. But no, I mean, we have a great group of guys in the locker room, and we obviously all get along well. And I got my undergrad a few years ago, but I still think I could be a little bit of a resource when it comes to some of that stuff. So. Appreciate it.